What's up guys, SkyKevin here, and today I'm going over my first impressions of the game Myth of Empires, a new survival/siege-like MMO that's just been released into alpha. I was lucky enough to get one of the stress test keys, and there's no NDA in place, so I can give you all my thoughts on the game so far, as well as some footage. As always, remember to subscribe if you like hearing my thoughts on MMOs like this one, as well as many others. So, let's get started. Myth of Empires essentially encompasses what New World was supposed to be in terms of world building and mechanics. With MOE, you start out like any other survival game, collecting rocks and branches, and eventually farm up better tools, gear, and a modular built base. Just like you see in the loading screens and trailers, I think the true endgame involves many large guilds besieging others to tear down your castle and acquire more land and influence for themselves. In a nutshell, this game is extremely communal. Most players will have to choose which skills they specialize in and work together with the rest of their guild in order to produce ammunition, weaponry, and structures in a way that forces you to rely on others. I think this is going to be a core gameplay loop for many people, as there will be a cyclical nature to farming up a bunch of weapons and horses, fighters, and ammunition to attack your enemies and have a lot of fun in the game. From what I've seen so far, this reintroduces many of the things we miss about old MMOs, as there's a level of sociability required by the player base, as well as intense politics and negotiation. There is no player limit to the servers as far as I'm aware, and guilds start with a max of 20 players that increases as you level up. So when it comes time to defend your castle, if you don't have friends, you're going to be in trouble. Overall, this gameplay loop, in my opinion, is a very good thing, in that you can have some of your players specialize in different farming skills and level up through crafting armor and equipment, whereas others can focus primarily on the PvP aspect of combat and raiding. Either way, it suits many different playstyles, as well as those that want to play in between. The PvP content is obviously there for raiding other enemies, and it's something that will inevitably come from the player base vying for control of their areas. But it also has a very good amount of things to do with PvE to keep a player interested, including instance dungeons and treasure spawns. Further, they have linked PvE and PvP servers, which you can travel between if you use a relay post with your guild, so this allows players who get completely wiped to go back to a PvE server and grind up their resources and build back up and come back to the PvP servers to fight. They have a great incentive for this being the case, because the PvP servers gain 2 times as many resources as the PvE server. So if you are a pacifist and you're worried that someone will come and take down your base, it's easy enough just to stay on the PvE side of things and enjoy the game that way. However, you're going to be doing twice as much work as those playing on the PvP server, who have to incur a lot more risk associated with other players. I think this will do a lot to keep the player population of the game strong, as there will be different groups providing plenty of content, both from a player-to-player perspective, as well as in-game objectives. I do have 2 qualms so far about the game. The first is the combat. A lot of the time it can feel very janky, laggy, and often your hits don't really feel like they connect. It's very difficult to block with the 6 different striking angles to choose from, and I noticed a lot of desync all the time with fighting. It's not as bad when you're doing mounted combat because of the nature of it, but it's definitely something that needs a lot more optimization and improvement. Secondly, the gathering rate of tools makes it very difficult for beginners to get started, especially when they're on their own and they don't have higher level friends to help them out. The difference between the tier 1 stone axe is nearly 10 times the harvesting rate of the tier 3 bronze axe. Further, you have individual skill points that you level up over time by using that skill. So in the case of something like woodcutting, when you start out, it takes forever just to cut down a few branches from a tree. Meanwhile, a player that's leveled up a bit can gather that in a few swings, and it's only amplified by the fact that they have higher skills and higher tiered tools. The only way that a beginner player can really keep up with that is if they have a friend that can craft them some of those higher tier tools and give them to them so that they can improve at a faster rate as well. That being said, I think this game has a ton of potential and depth. There are so many positives about how the sieging works, recruiting NPCs to work in your castle and to help you produce resources and food, and a quality system where you can aim to get top tier armor and weaponry, as well as breeding horses and outfitting them as well. No matter what you decide to do, whether it's going out to fight or farming wood, you're always doing something to benefit your character and level them up as well, and you feel that progression at all times. I haven't gotten to play a survival game in a while that has this good of a balance while doing that sort of thing. I think if you were to compare some of the mechanics for this game, it would be likewise to others like Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord's skill system, Valheim's skill system, Age of Conan's base and NPC mechanics, and a sprinkle of Last Oasis or Mordhau style skill-based combat. I think when this game full launches, we'll see the player base be pleasantly surprised at the amount of depth that the game has and the feeling of community that so many other MMOs are missing right now. Keep in mind, while saying all this, I'm fully aware that this game is still in early alpha. There's a lot of jankiness to it, and there's plenty of bugs that the players still need to deal with. But I think overall, they've done a fantastic job of keeping the right level of PvP to PvE, that it's going to establish a solid player base that wants to keep playing the game despite all those issues. I imagine when the population increases, they may actually reach the level where you see in the promos, with 50 players each bringing their siege weaponry, their soldiers, and attacking a castle for a big 200 versus 200 battle. It will be clunky, that's a given. But I think a lot of the fun for those of us that enjoy mass-scale siege battles will come from the depth that this game offers. At first, I was hesitant that this game was going to be any good. I had heard about it previously, and it often looked like it was an indie studio trying the same old survival-style MMO. With this one, I was surprised at how good it was, and how it's built on many of its predecessors, like Life is Feudal. I think this is a great evolution of that, and given how well the stress test has gone this week, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up ramping the number of players they can support, and getting the finishing touches before it goes into the next stages of open beta access. I'm planning to do more videos on MOE for some of the in-depth mechanics, so if you're interested in trying this game, make sure you subscribe and check in for more of that in the future. I also make plenty of videos on other games and other MMOs, so make sure you check out that as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay. No, nope. Do not want the wolf. Oh, nope. Oh, nope. Oh, don't kill my horse. Don't kill my horse, please. No, I ran into the tree. Oh my gosh. Run. Don't kill my horse. So many better targets for you to kill right now. Why are you fighting me? No. Oh, for frick's sakes. Okay, well, I guess we're finishing this journey on foot. Ah, damn it.